Um, Hi guys, thanks for clicking on this video. So my aim here is to show you a walkthrough of the first ever application I developed using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and MySQL database. I developed this application about 4 years ago, and I was in my second year in college, about to go into my third year. And I had a whole summer break off, and I decided to build something huge by my standards then. So, like the name says, it's a hotel management system. You log in with a username and password. I'll play this at a faster speed if I can figure out how to do that. So you log in with the username and password, like I said, and you get into a dashboard which shows an overview of the current status of things in the hotel rooms and guests. And the guest list shows a list of all the guests arranged alphabetically with the rooms. And then you can add a new guest, like I'm showing here. Select a room, and the name is added. You click on the name, it shows the information you just entered. And then you can check out the guest. And then to the rooms, see it's divided into regular rooms, double bedrooms, king size rooms. And then I have a to-do list which you can spaginated. You can mark you can mark a to-do item as done. And you have the next checkouts, and then you have a list of users whose checkout wasn't specified. Then here I'm logged in as a user without admin privilege, so the application uses roles. And then I logged out the user, logged in back as an admin, and the admin is able to add new users. So this is the other user I logged in with previously. And then you can add a new user. I'm the one giving, I gave the password. And obviously, in the ideal world, a new user should be able to log in and reset their password. And here I'm just showing that when I add a new guest, the number of rooms reduces. So the number of guests has increased, occupied rooms has increased, available rooms has reduced. And then you can search for a guest. and it shows you the guest and the room, and also shows if the guest is already archived. And then finally, you can log out. So, looking back in hindsight, what would I have done differently? I think the very first thing I would have done differently is use an MVC framework. And since PHP is my selected language at the time, I would have used Laravel. And so, what are the advantages of using a framework like Laravel? Like the name says, MVC means model view controllers, which means I would have been able to separate my logic. Like looking at this index page, I have all this logic, making queries to a database and all. I have it on the same page containing my HTML pages. And then, even though I can't bring up the SQL database right now, I know for sure that my database wasn't normalized. So what that means is I didn't have foreign keys. I probably had primary keys, but there were no foreign key constraints, which I would have been able to do using code force migration with my database, something you can learn from using a framework like Laravel. And other programming languages provide a similar framework, like C Sharp lets you use ASP.NET MVC, Java lets you use Spring MVC with the whole Spring Boot framework. Python has Django, Ruby has Ruby on Rails. Um, so that's one of the things I would do differently. In fact, that's a major thing I would do differently. And it will also let me use object-oriented programming, which means I would have models that would represent things in my application. Like, for instance, I would have a guest model that would have the guest first name, last name, um, address, ID number. I would also have like the application user. My security would be better. I would probably use basic authentication, which I could later switch out for JWT authentication. So, I mean, it wasn't bad for my first application. Honestly, it helped me get my first job out of college as a junior developer. My manager was impressed that I had built something something that works, and she watched the YouTube video and I got hired. So my advice would be, if you are learning something right now, after you've learned the basics, build something. Have something to show for what you have developed. Um, so that's it for this video. I'm just a regular person. Now I'm in my third year as a professional software engineer, and I work in a team of software engineers, and I'm just an average software developer. I'm not a genius, I'm not smart. There was a time in my life when I had never seen HTML code, and right now I work on applications used by millions of users in a year, about 1 million users in a year. So, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, write it in the comment section. This is my first video. If you have any advice for what I can do better, lets me know. Oh, then I should mention the things I did well. I think for my first application, I actually did well breaking the application into different sessions, different pages, and just using the PHP include. So that way, at least the application is still somewhat maintainable. Yeah, so thank you for watching.